Red Thorn, written by Perilous Platypus. "Hella, that's it," Yerkes said, jamming an elbow into the other child huddled beside her.
"The human, the one they've been talking about."
Hella perked up, uncurling a tentacle enough to let an eye stalk sprout out and take in the scene. She blinked the bleary film away from her eye, trying to focus. She needed to spend less time drinking with Yerkes. Everyone knew it was the fool's game to try and go tentacle to toe with a Yeresian.
"Human?
No," Hella replied, the bubbles emitting in her Moby tank and translated into a feminine robotic voice she liked best. She craned her eye stalk to follow the strange creature as it sat down in a dark alcove on the other side of the tavern. "Notice the lack of blood in its fangs, which are not even bared, no claws either. Its stature is fully half a standard human size." Yerkes blinked at that, the narrow slits of her eyes disappearing before re-emerging, the pupils dilated in the dim light of the common room.
"Well, if it isn't a human, what is it?"
Hannah had no response for that. The creature was quite unusual, and certainly not from a local space. She and Yerkes had spent enough time lurking about the station and its tavern to have a good enough sense for things that didn't belong. Most of the danger in a place like this came from things that didn't belong. So you get to be wise about it. A tentacle idly scratched the base of her eye stalk, removing a bit of debris that had accumulated in the viscous ooze surrounding the orifice that safeguarded her eye stalks when she was resting.
"A Cavernian?"
Hella offered, knowing the guess was worse than Yerkes.
"You're gassing me, Hella. I'm telling you, it's a human."
She squinted, her own eyesight a far shot better than Hella's, at least when on land. Drop the two of them in an ocean, and then the tables would be reversed. Sure enough. Hella bubbled out a bit of air, searching her now faded memories for that feeling of floating serenity along the since behind her. The damn trawler. If only she'd slept in the deeps like her brood mom had told her, she wouldn't be stuck on land in a space station 100 light years from home.
"You see? The jacket. It's got the jacket."
Yerkes jammed a clawed finger towards the alcove. She narrowed her eyes further, peering at the creature.
"Terra's fleet," she whispered.
Hella's eye puckered at that, withdrawing slightly in alarm.
"They're all dead or imprisoned."
The Terra's fleet had been destroyed over a year ago, during the Battle of Fallen Gate. Depending on who told it, the humans went down without a fight, or took out half the fleets within 3 jumps. Hella tended to believe the latter, given how much activity had picked up after the battle, and the alarm even the mention of humans created. The fact that the humans had somehow managed to destroy a warp node before they lost made the whole thing that much more terrifying. Warp nodes were supposed to be indestructible. Stories said that humans fought to the last ship, no surrender, no attempt to negotiate, no fleeing or hiding. They just fought it out in the open, numbered 40 or 50 to 1, trading blows while their colonial fleets retreated through the node until they were all through and the node collapsed, preventing any attempt to follow them. And now, maybe, there was a human here. The others in the tavern had fallen quiet, something that rarely happened without trouble brewing. Hella swiveled the eye stalks over to Yerkes.
"What is it doing here?"
Yerkes shrugged. Where else? Pirate Station, the arse end, seems like a better place than most for them. She stood up, her joints creaking and cracking after the night spent dozing at the tavern table. "I'm going to ask."
"This is insane. You are insane,"
Hella bubbled, hesitating for a moment before directing her Moby tank to creep along behind her friend and saucer most of her troubles. Yerkes padded along lightly, her form lithe and her footing sure and smooth. Once again, Hella wished Yerkes could see her, just once, in the ocean the way that she was meant to live. Instead, she had to carefully navigate around the various tables, bags, and other obstacles that stood in the way of her Moby tank, making the journey arduous by comparison. Yerkes stopped in front of the alcove and the human who sat inside of it. The human looked at her. She looked at him. "One of whatever the people drink around here," it said. It spoke local common fluently, though the accent was strange, with the sounds alternating too harsh in some places and too soft in others.
I'm not, that's not what I do,"
Yerkes stumbled, sounding for once thoroughly out of place. The human did a strange thing with the furry bit above its eye, and appeared to conduct a thorough examination of Yerkes. Thankfully, it spared Hella the same appraisal. I see, it said.
You're human,
Yerky said. The human raised and dropped its shoulders. So it would seem.
She said that you're all dead,
Yerky replied, gesturing to Hella behind her. Hella released a vexed spurt of bubbles, which passed for an expletive amongst her kind. Yerky, either blissfully ignorant of the epitaph or willfully uncaring, continued on.
She said that all of you died at Fallen Gate.
It would appear not, the human replied, its voice flat. Hella did not think it advisable to gab on about the slaughter of the human's companions, but Yerky really did the advisable thing.
But you're here,
Yerky said. The human inclined its head.
Why?
A drink to start. Do you think that you could help with that? These other folks seem a bit skittish, the human said. Yerky nodded, bouncing from foot to foot in excitement.
Sure. Do you have any cred? What do you want?
Opinion ale, if you have it. And whatever is closest to that if they don't, the human replied, offering her a cred stick. Yerky quickly snatched it from his hand, and then bobbed her head.
Great. I'm Yerky. That's Hella,
she said, prompting Hella to release another spurt of bubbles. Nice to meet you, Yerky. He nodded to Hella in her Moby tank. Hella, you can call me Red.
Salutations,
Hella managed before carting off behind Yerky, and was scurrying towards the bar to gather up drinks. They returned a moment later to find the human relaxing back in the booth, its feet propped up on the table, hollow images dancing across its eyes. Hella knew humans augmented, particularly their warriors, but it was still surreal to see it in real life. It made her want to curl up in her tentacles and sleep until the waves stilled. When Yerky approached, the blue lights faded from its eyes, and it focused on the two of them. Should have a few hours before they figure it out, it said, reaching out to take hold of the tall mug Yerky offered. It made no mention of the cred stick it had handed her. It took a sip, smacked his lips, and then bared his fangs, which were considerably smaller than Hella had been led to believe they were. Leave it to a pirate pot to have the opinion. Been a circuit and a half since I've had one. Damn good, thanks, kid.
I'm not a kid,
Yerky said. She clearly was. The human looked her over and then nodded slowly. Hard to stay young in a place like this. Wisdom. For all the menace attached to their legend, this human seemed to be quite sensible. Hella scooted closer, stretching her second eye stalk to get a better look at it. She believed it was a male, by the descriptions she had heard, though she could not be certain. A primary distinguishing characteristic between the two human sexes was fur upon the lower half of their face, and this human, Red, appeared to have a smattering of stubble across its jaw. It was a he. That changed the risks a little. As far as Hella understood, both sexes were capable of great feats of destruction, the Terrace fleet having commanded by a female known as the Unbreakable.
You are Red? Hella asked, her feminine robotic voice interjecting into the conversation. I've heard of the Crimson Thorn. This is related.
Red took a long swig of his ale, his eyes settling on Hella, in a way that felt her stripped bare, floating in the open waters. What have you heard of the Crimson Thorn?
Hella's tentacles clutched around her nervously. A starfighter clan, very powerful. The most powerful in the Terrace fleet, capable of great destruction. Her eye stalks retracted slightly, specializing in deep strikes.
Red's lips quirked upward. Mostly correct. We weren't any more powerful. We just did more with what we had with the others. Scarlet always knew where the soft spots were. He took another sip. I like the sound of deep strikes, but we mostly went by tactical extended deployers, or TEDs, self-sufficient. Can last a whole long while without touching back at base. He raised his drink in salute, as if to suggest that he was an example of precisely this. Yerky leaned forward, her eye slits wide with interest, the hair on her nape raised.
And you fight them, the Imperials, even now?
This was not an academic question for Yerky. Her hate for the Imperials ran deep and red hot. Hella did not blame her, but she often found her hate clouded Yerky's already questionable judgment, as their present engagement with the human clearly exemplified. Well, a thorn will be a thorn, won't it? Can't change my nature, Red said, his voice steady, but tinged with a Hella suspected humor. Thankfully, there's enough pirate ports for me to ply my craft without coming into too many difficulties.
Yerky swallowed, positively twitching. You have a thorn?
A favorite pastime of Yerky's was going through the ships the humans fielded. Humans, unlike most other species, tended to have a wide array of spaceships built for any number of purposes. Among those identified and classified, all war specialized, the Thorns were greatly feared. One new sniff called them an armada of one, which had always stuck with Hela. Have a thorn, am a thorn, will be a thorn, is all wrapped up in the same thing. Can't be one without the other, Red said. He spoke about all of this very freely, which confused Hela. She said as much. Red shrugged his shoulders in response. Doesn't matter much now, does it? Main mission is complete. The home finders are on their way. Second mission goes on until I'm dead. Inflict maximal damage on enemy assets. I've already notched 20 times the next person. So I figure it don't matter much if I cash it in now. Might as well enjoy myself and spin the stories when I got the time and the ear willing to listen.
That's how all the rumors spread, Yerky said.
Red snorted in response. Well, that, and all the blown-up ships and snips of my bare ass I leave behind as a calling card.
Yerky giggled at that,
and Hela couldn't help but join her with a few bubbles.
So, what are you going to do now?
Resupply, both for me and the Red Thorn. Then off for our mischief, I suppose, he replied.
Red Thorn? You have the same name as your ship? Yerky asked.
Like I said, it's all the same thing. I am Red, I am Thorn. The ship is Red, it is Thorn. What matters is what we are all wrapped up together. Red, Thorn, he said.
It is very confusing, Hela said.
Ah, well, it ain't how it plays when the things are official. But it's how it plays now. How it played when we were just among ourselves. We got a bit peculiar about things. Most Teds do. Eccentricity is an occupational hazard for folks that delve the dark solo. Hela agreed that this human was strange, at least by conventional standards. She had very little basis to assess whether he was strange by human standards. She suspected so.
You're all alone? Yerky asked.
Depends on how you view it, doesn't it? I'm here with you two right now. Out in the wide galaxy, there's still a few tens of billions of humans rattling around, raising hell. But right here, in this little pocket of space, I'm the last human standing. He raised his glass to salute again. To all those poor mucks so far down the killboard, they'll never see the light of day.
Killboard? Hela asked.
Tracks all the good work each of the Thorns have done. He waved a hand, and a hollow appeared above it. Hela couldn't understand the script, though the top of it showed an image of Red himself. Poor Scarlet would kill herself for a second time if she saw the state of this. His voice stumbled then, turned sad. Probably for the best. Yoki's eyes fixated on the hollow, marveling at the magical feel of the technology and the story the human attached to it. Her eyes looked up at him.
And after you resupply, what then? She asked.
Red finished his mug and wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. The hollow flickered and then disappeared. Add to the lead. End of story. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Caspar Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.